I would like a recount if I lose.
Oh, jeez.
If it's close by 1 point, I'm going to lose my mind.
Jeez.
Welcome to the Kindred Spirit Podcast, a program completely dedicated to the board game Spirit Island. On this show, we examine and discuss every aspect of the game, whether they be general tips, in-depth strategies, or silly shenanigans.
Keep
going. You got this.
Keep it.
Today we cover the results of our first battle in our Brandenburg, Prussia Takedown series. The first one up to the plate was Laura's team, Shock and Awe. How did her team fare? Let's find out.
I didn't know
Hey!
was like aw. Like,
Yeah, I thought shock and awe, not shock and awe.
I didn't know it was
Shock and
aw.
the little
Wait,
mini
wait,
bird.
Why did Ryan do the intro? Laura!
This is so weird.
That wasn't Ryan? What? I'm so confused.
I don't know what to say about that intro.
I have mixed feelings.
Yeah, it's fun.
My voice is deeper earlier in the day.
You do have a pretty low voice sometimes, Laura Love.
And I thank you.
This is really getting
Alrighty.
weird. Can we just go?
So today was my team, Shock
Yeah.
and Awe, because I got a lot of big booms, and then I got the tiny little hummingbird on my team.
Yeah.
I had Stone, Thunder Speaker, Keeper, and Finder, because some jerk destroyed Ocean, and we won't talk about it anymore.
Yes, those burns, those are pretty rough.
Yes,
Rude.
today is the second of 4 episodes in our Brandenburg Prussia Takedown series.
Takedown.
We have already done the draft. If you have not seen that, this probably makes very little sense to you right now.
What's happening?
Head on over to YouTube, go watch the draft.
That's right. We recorded our draft of these teams on video, and you can see that video on YouTube. You'll find it in episode 65. It's also on the normal podcasting channels wherever you listen to us normally.
Or don't worry about it. This is my team, and let's see how they did.
Yeah.
So today we are coming in with the first report of this series, the first actual battle report. So, how did Laura's team fare? We have the first stats available here. I'm actually really excited now. You know, we were excited to do this whole series. And John, I remember when you were starting it off, you're like, dude, this is going to be great. And like, oh man, now we get to actually get some points on the board and see how Laura has set the bar. Let's go ahead and see how the rest of our teams can compare to that.
I will say, I showed up to the battle today, unaware that we were going up against Brandenburg Prussia 6. That was a surprise to me.
Ow!
Yeah, what level were you thinking there, buddy?
I don't know.
Okay.
Not 6, apparently.
Laura had no thoughts.
It's not like I did any prep beforehand, but I wasn't prepped for this thing. I also didn't know what the scoring was, because apparently we came up with some of that after I drafted Stone, so I call foul.
You're right. Eric came up with the scoring after you drafted your team. That wasn't developed back in 2016.
Wait, Eric came up with this?
For everyone at home, I read the rule book. Laura did not when we first got the game.
Like we said long ago.
Wait, there's actual scoring for like how you
Yes.
do in a game?
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Lesnar, I didn't know that till just now.
Oh, yes, you have.
Yes, you have. You play on digital all the time where they show you the
Yep.
scoring.
Yeah,
But-
I always have all the easy stuff on, so mine's like negative stuff.
we said last time, John is the only person here that actually cares about it.
I'm all for the high score.
All right. Well,
Because I only care about win yes, win no. Literally anything else, I don't care. Because I feel as if that's kind of unfair to all the blight people, like Vengeance or something.
Mhm.
Or like, here's a blight strategy. Yeah, this made me win the game. And, well,
Negative
sorry.
points for the blight.
I like to
Aw.
ask everybody, did we have fun and are we still friends? And then
Eek.
that's all I care about.
I don't ask those questions after a game.
But see, here's the thing. I'm not a competitive person. I don't, like, really care. It's just like, yeah, if we all had fun,
Yeah.
that's really what matters, you know?
For the most part, but for this, it's fun to be silly and
All right,
Oh, yeah,
well,
for
I
here-
feel a little bit better knowing that they didn't just pick stuff to make my team tank, so thanks, Eric.
You picked it!
I was not made aware of the scoring before I picked my team.
traitor.
All in all,
Okay.
though, was it a fun game and are we still friends? Yes. So I call it a success.
Yay!
I love how the only friendship here is just me, because you two are, you know, married, so you're stuck
You don't
with
have to
each
be
other.
friends when you're married.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's till death is that's binding.
Well, What was that one hilarious statistic that one comedian just said on America's Got Talent? He said, when you look at the statistics for marriage in the U.S., it said 44% of all marriages end in divorce. Now, at first, that sounds scary, right? Wow, 44% end in divorce? It's crazy. But look at the flip side. That means that the other 56 end in death. Does that sound any better? Like,
Kisses, sweetie.
it's either divorce or death.
Anyway, the game.
I thought it was funny.
John, you're still my best friend, so it's okay.
Aww.
So,
All right.
yes, Laura,
So
once
we had-
again, do you want to tell the crowd, in case they forgot, who, once again, was on your team?
All right, so we had Stone, played by Ryan,
Hey!
on F board.
Yeah.
We had Thunder Speaker, played by, surprise, surprise me, on E board.
Hey!
And then we were supposed to have a friend come in and play Keeper, but poor guy
Mm.
got sick. So, you know, R.I.P. him.
I mean, he's still alive.
Well, he's dead to me now because he didn't come to my game.
She takes it so personally.
No, I'm sorry. Get better, Jason. So John played Keeper and Finder together
Yeah.
on A and B board.
What's nice about Keeper is they're broken. So I don't have to think. I just did the broken build. The place 2 presents always have enough energy to do growth 4. So
Yeah, when victory is on the line and
Yeah, it's like-
competition brings out like the...
how about that 7 energy and 3 card plays?
Bring out all the stops.
Yeah, so we did good and had fun.
Now, how did you go about the business of picking who got who? Obviously, you getting Thunder Speaker, that's, yeah.
I grabbed Thunder Speaker. I shoved the bird at John because he does good with it. And then I threw the other ones at Ryan and said, what do you want?
Because that's not what happened to me. I was
That's
literally
not true.
handed stone, like, here, you're stone.
You
I was like,
gave
oh,
Ryan Stone.
Okay.
Well, John texted me in church today when he was supposed to be paying attention to other stuff that he was going to be playing Keeper. So I assumed that was already set up.
Right on. Yeah, no, I was just curious about how in these teams, because like we said before during the draft, each one of us chose these 4 spirits, but who in those teams gets which spirit? Can we have some fun with it? Do we just want to be like, whatever? I think it's kind of fun if we let the person decide how it goes. I have a fun
So
little...
Ryan's bitter that he had to play Stone instead of
No,
Keeper.
no.
Ryan, you played a great Stone.
You did fantastic, sir.
Spoilers.
I have a fun idea for how I want my team's members to be distributed, but I will
You're
get
going
to
to hide
that
them
later.
around the living room, and we all have to go hunting, and the first one you find, that's who you're playing.
Ooh, can we make it like the Grace game where we hunt each other?
Oh, dear. Anyway, so back to the game. So I was just handed Stone. I'm like, okay. And ironically...
Did you want Keeper instead?
I didn't have a choice.
Well, now I feel bad about all of this.
No, you're fine. So,
yeah.
ironically, I had never played Stone in a multiplayer game. I have only ever played Stone in solo play. So I'm like, okay, this will be interesting.
So yet
Here we
another
go.
great leadership decision by Laura. This is going very well so far.
This is a game of adaptation and change.
Hey!
Because, once again, we did random boards. I mean, we had told you before who got each. So, yeah, I was Stone. I got F board. Thunder Speaker got E. Keeper got B. And Finder got A.
What's interesting, we didn't really plan
Get C
out.
board.
Yeah.
Or D.
Or D.
Or D.
Thank goodness no D. Double wetlands.
No.
Yeah. But we didn't really pick out like, okay, Stone needs to have F board. We kind of just like, well,
Oh
this.
yeah, we did
does it
randomly
really?
pull the boards.
Well, we randomly put the boards, but also just kind of like randomly put down the island, and I didn't
Yeah.
really care about where
Yeah.
Finder went, or I guess.
Kind of whatever it was.
F board was closest to me. That's why I was just like, all right,
Yeah.
you're on that one. Okay, here we go.
How did that work out? Like starting wise, did you like it from what you remember?
It was one of those things where with this adversary and with my placement, with what we got, because our first card is a stage 3,
Yeah.
I think it was okay.
Okay.
I think it's all right. All things considered, I didn't think it mattered too much. So anyway, Ted hates it when we don't get right into it, so let's get right into it.
20 minutes later.
Ted gives good advice.
Actually,
Off we go.
only 10 minutes.
Yeah, not bad.
All right, so turn 1. Mountain and jungle, set up and explore. I also, again, forgot that it would just go so fast. So I will say right off the bat, I freaked out a little bit when I found out how difficult it would be. I immediately pulled up Kaylin's strategy video for Thunder Speaker and started watching that at high volume because I was spazzing about a character I've played all the time.
For years. A character you played for years.
Yes.
Nothing against Kaylin.
Hey,
Love you,
to be-
Kaylin.
To be fair, we've had one hectic week, so every now and then it's like, hey, I'm about to go into something that's like really crazy. I need my brain. Can I just have someone help me with some of these brain things?
So I actually opened up with Thunder Speaker Growth 3 option, which I never do. I'm always like, get my stuff out there. But Kaylin did it in the video, so that's what I did as well. It was kind of cool because I did Manifestation of Power and Glory like right off the bat and got my coastal city off the board because they were going to ravage the next turn. So I was like, oh, well, this is nifty.
Now, for listeners at home who don't have every growth option with Thunderspeaker memorized, what is growth 3?
You think I have it memorized? I don't remember. No, I'm kidding. It is, you get to place 1 presence and you get 4 money, which when you're cast strapped and your best card costs 3 money, it's a lot.
4 energy is a chunk of change. Agreed.
So that's what I did.
One thing that was just a wonderful reminder when you're playing with Brandenburg Prussia 3, and especially at this difficulty at max level, is they go to 2 lands at a time, and our first one was Jungle Mountain. And I remember when John said, he's like, well, the real trouble with Brandenburg Prussia is how much blight did you get on turn 2? Because you're probably going to blight. So I was very happy that of my 4 lands that were under attack, I only blighted once, which was really great. With an asterisk, technically twice, but one of them was from the box. So
Hey-yo.
I'm okay with that.
Ryan's right. I've had games where I blight the island turn 2. And that's really hard against Brandenburg Prussia, or any game.
That's hard to come back from.
Especially if you get one of those ones that are continually hurting you, like a downward spiral or a memory fades.
It is very likely to blight.
Yeah.
To get some
So then for
blight on
6
turn
more
2.
turns, you are dealing with blighted effects, either from a blight card or even like events if you play with events. So I agree. We try to really limit blight, at least for turn 2.
Yeah.
Try and like weather the storm as much as we could. So my turn 1 for Finder, I always want to like try and do different things, right? Especially with Finder. They have this bridge, as we've called it, of a growth track. But we've also talked about how you have to be efficient with Brandenburg Prussia.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I know how to do this one thing with Finder really well. So I did top, middle, bottom, if that makes sense. So I did the top track, 2 middles, and then I went to the bottom.
You're just plinkoing down to the bottom there.
Basically. But I like the elements with top, middle, you get sun, moon, and air. So with my turn 1, I was able to, with my growth 2, play 2 cards, and that's where Finder's already starting to move things, even in the fast phase. With my lay paths, they cannot walk. So just trying to limit builds, trying to limit town builds, less explore sources to come from. And then from the beginning, we started like, okay, let's group things up onto Laura's board.
Yeah.
Like Ryan was doing that. I was doing that. I would make some sacred sites with Keeper. Bounce things around. Push Dahan with the sacred sites.
I actually didn't do a whole lot of control. I had a lot of my people taken from me and people pushed onto my board. And I was like, I'm just going to try to see who I can kill.
Yeah.
I did push on to some people onto you early. You're right. Just like, because I don't...
My coastal wetland. Thanks, buddy.
It's always so fun playing with Finder because who else can move cities? And who can move cities across the whole entire board? It's always just such a cool mechanism to see. I loved it.
It's always fun when you get that first event card that you burn and you're like, please be missionaries. Or please be farmers or something. This time it was the struggles of growth. We're like,
swing
like one of those ones that you're not super offended by, but you hoped it was going to be like a worse one.
Yeah.
No outpaced. Yeah,
Right,
nothing that really could ruin your game. You're right, that does sting. You're like, oh, well, let's see what happens next.
Well.
Yeah.
Too bad. The first explore after the first turn was on our coastal lands.
I was worried about that because that puts an extra explore, build, ravage onto each land in level 2. But we weathered that storm really well, which I was very surprised
no escalation.
That's what
That's
Ryan really
true.
liked, so we didn't have to add a town
To a land without.
Which
I gotta be there.
and that really stinks.
As stone, and guess what I don't have? A double presence placing option.
You can go every turn. You can place a presence.
That is nice. That is very nice.
That really irks me as a Finder player, too, because as we've talked about, you can't get around adds. So I was trying to put down isolates and trying to group people up. But then when an escalation comes up, I can't get around that.
Yeah.
I can't isolate a land enough. You just have to add a town to land with that one.
Yeah.
Just plain and simple. So
That makes sense.
I agree with getting the early coastal was pretty helpful to batten down the hatches, keep them towards the coast. I will say, with the turn 2, as we've talked about, it's a stage 3 card. So many lands are ravaging. Me and Ryan both were able to pull up defend cards.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I had one of my most hated things where of my 4 cards, 3 of them were defend cards. I'm like, dang it. I hate it when that happens. because that means that my teammates are going to have statistically a lower chance of finding defend cards when they go for a minor power.
Because in my recent Finder games, I've been leaning into the defensive Finder instead of the big boom. Like, let my Dahan do my damage, but I never found a defense as a Finder, unfortunately. But I was playing two-handed. Keeper found Dark and Tangled Woods.
That's a good one.
That helps out.
That's
which, with our first Ravage being mountain jungles, literally Dark and Tangled Woods can only target mountains or jungles, and it was defend and fear. So I'm like, oh, that's perfect.
Yep. So the 3 defend cards I had the choice to pick from was Sap the Strength of Multitudes, Quicken the Earth's Struggles, and Elusive Ambushes. I was like, dagnabbit. Now, of course,
those are all really good.
They
I
are.
know. And of those 3, only one of them has an Earth element. That's Quicken the Earth Struggles. Now, that's the one of those 3 that has the highest amount of defense. You can either do 1 damage to each building, or you can get defend 10. For 1 energy, that's awesome. The unfortunate thing, though, was that you need to be there, and it needs to be a sacred site. And the reason why that's like, is because this early in the game, I didn't have sacred sites, and I didn't have them where I needed them. It was like a land 1 away from me, and I don't have anything in that land is about to go up. I'm like, dagnabbit.
So that's like at least 2 turns away from getting a
Right.
sacred site.
And Sap the Strength of Multitudes is also range 0. That one does defend 5, but once again, range 0. I'm like, dagnabbit.
You can boost that range.
You can boost it, but I didn't have anything that had air. It's one of those unique minors that has a threshold. For a single air, you can increase the power's range by 1, which is cool, but it gives you animal water. And I didn't have anything that had air. So I'm like, dang, now I'm going to have to wait to make this card useful until I can find something else that gives me an air. So ironically, I picked Elusive Ambushes, even though it gives me sun, fire, water, which I don't need. But it's range 1. It requires you to have Dahan in target land. So it's either 1 damage or defend 4. You have to pick. But at least it's range 1. I'm like, that's what I need. I don't care if there's like Dahan. And that's like my restriction.
Stone has, pretty good Dahan control. So you can
They
set
are,
up. Yeah.
But it's slow. I'm like, But still, this early, this quick, one thing that we were very much reminded of with Brandenburg, Prussia is you don't have time to really, like, oh, I'll wait to make this work. It's like, I need something that works
You need to go
right
now.
I need something right now. And if I can't use it right now, then I don't need it.
This is the biggest argument I hear for England because you have so many turns of England. It's such a grueling game, but I hear people say, like, they don't take out any invader cards. So you get a full game against England.
Man, it's been a while since I've played England. Now I want to play them again.
I don't.
'Cause this was almost like...
I never
No,
want
you
to play
don't.
them.
Oh.
No, you don't.
No, you can play whatever you like, Laura.
can.
Never
You
mind.
can knock yourself out all you want.
As a Thunder Speaker main, she would love England, I'm sure.
Oh, sure,
Yeah,
sure.
Thunder Speaker stomps England. But as a control player, I'm just like,
Oh, no.
I weep in the corner.
I'm sure you are quite familiar, Laura, with the bad taste in your mouth that Russia 6 gives you. Basically, what that feeling is how everyone else feels about England 6. Just this, ugh, no, yuck, ew, I don't want to do it. Do I have to?
But you get to build as your spirit, like a cool build. You're not sprinting out the gates like Brandenburg, so...
So you get some time to, like, really
grow
get
your
big
spirit.
and
Yeah,
do
yeah.
stuff. Okay. All right, so we had some defense
We had a lot of
going
defense.
on, but then we got our event.
And
The
Laura
events were
finally joined my team on anti-event sentiments.
The events were not in our favors this time. Very often. It was kind of annoying. Our event was Temporary Truce. In lands with Dahan, 1 Dahan and 1 town or city do not participate in ravages. They neither take nor deal damage. Because we were still at Terror Level 1. We were in Terror Level 1 for quite some time.
Yeah, we felt it. We didn't have a dedicated fear spirit, so it took us a while.
I did not think of that when I drafted him.
That's fine.
That's all right. But this Temporary Truce, we had a bunch of defense set up where our Dahan were going to be able to smack back and kill things.
We
And
missed
then
out
they
on a
didn't.
ton. Like, cities missed out. Towns.
The good news is that the lands that weren't blighting still didn't blight, which is like, yay. But the problem is that for my board anyway, I had 2 lands that each were about to be completely cleared, wiping out all the towns and explorers, but a single town remained on each of them. I'm like, dang it. The only one that didn't was the one that I had to do stones and 8s on because it says it only does that if Dahan were in that land.
Right.
And that was just me, so I was able to counterattack with myself, but I was like, dang it, I had 2 lands ready to go to completely clear it. And it's really annoying when you have, against Brandenburg, Prussia, lands that still have towns in them because the escalation says you have to put a town where there isn't one. I was supposed to have 2 more lands that I could put towns in, but nope. So I guess I have to go further inland. Dang it!
Yeah, that one, I think turn 2 Brandenburg, Prussia might be the most swingiest of the events. If you get a bad event on turn 2...
That's it. It's all done.
It hurts. Like, we were feeling the ramifications, like Ryan's saying, of not losing those towns and cities for the rest of the game.
Yeah,
France
it was
on
bad.
East board would like to have a word.
Yeah, that's very swingy. But it's because the game's so fast, it only lasts 8 turns. It's tough when, the city was supposed to be gone, and now it's there, and now it's going to build another town.
I will say it could have been a worse event.
Okay.
It wasn't the worst. It's not like we blighted because of it. And we didn't like lose presence or Dahan or anything. It was just like annoying because we're like, oh my gosh, we set up all this good stuff. And then
all this defense wasted.
To quote Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes, he has probably one of my favorite response to, it could have been a lot worse. Yeah, well, it could have been a lot better, too.
And if that ain't life.
So what was the Explore card that came up next?
All right, so then we had to explore the wetlands. And they did
for
that.
those of us who had coastal wetlands.
Yeah.
I had one. But it wasn't D-board, so
that
it could have been worse.
That could have been
And
terrible.
with explorers in our wetlands, we trundled into turn 3.
For those keeping track at home, yes, we have not yet earned a fear card.
Not yet.
We haven't gone big booms.
So Finder found a pretty cool card where I found Rights of the Land's Rejection. Now this is a card where you can either prevent a build in a land with Dahan, and you get fear based on how many buildings are Dahan are there, you take the less number. Or you can push up to 3 Dahan. So I took that option, and as Finder and Thunderspeaker started to like look at each other and be like, okay,
Let's go.
let's go.
Go time.
And I use aid from the Spirit Speakers, so I was starting to move Dahan and group people up onto Laura's board. So that was a pretty cool pull for me, because I wasn't doing much with Dahan. I tried to offer passage between worlds. That was going to prevent 2 Dahan from dying, but then they didn't participate in Ravage, so nothing happened. So it was kind of a worthless setup. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to start pushing things to Laura's board, and we're just going to start setting things up.
We cleared out your board pretty quickly. You ended up with a lot of your presence on my board, like all of your Dahan with you.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of like picked up everything and dumped it off with me and was nice.
I got some lucky isolates. I chose a wetland when the wetland came up, so I'm like, yes! You always like when isolate hits, type of thing. So I was able to prevent that.
I played a fun card that I've never done before, especially as Thunder Speaker. I'm trying to be more experimentative because I feel like sometimes I get into a rut of like, oh, I know this card and I know this combo works. And I'm trying to be more like, no, like let's try something new and play around with it. So my new interesting card this turn was Bird's Cry Warning.
I love that card.
Which is interesting, because the action is next time Dahan would be destroyed in target land, destroy 2 fewer Dahan, or push up to 3 Dahan. Which if you're any other character, you're just like, oh, well, I lose 1 Dahan, and, I keep the rest of my Dahan. If you're Thunder Speaker, you are, like, turning into a kamikaze pilot a bit, because you're like, I'm just going to die here. Because anytime my Dahan die, I die alongside them. So I did end up using this to be able to destroy a city because I didn't have my defense card left. Managed to pick up very little defense in this game.
Yeah, Ryan burned all those, the defend cards.
Yeah, rude.
I didn't mean to!
But I had 3 Dahan and a city and an explorer in a mountain that they were fighting in. So I lost one of my Dahan, but the other 2 managed to fight back. I still got a blight, but the city got off the map.
Nice.
So that was really handy.
I really do love Bird's Cry Warning because that's basically, in my mind, the offer passage between worlds or concealing shadows for non-Finder or Shadows players.
I love saving Dahan, and it's like a pseudo defense type of thing.
You're like, we're gonna blight, but you're not all gonna die.
You protect the Dahan. I also like it just
or share secrets of survival. I know one of you is about to say it from shifting memory. Okay.
What I like about this, there's not many fast Dahan moving powers. Ryan was talking about how his Dahan moving powers are slow, and same with like Shadows or even Thunderspeaker. I mean, once they get ranked up enough, they can move Dahan fast, or they have the sudden ambush card.
Yeah, but it's only the innate. The rest of your cards, if you want to move your army, it has to be slow.
So we're very fortunate that we found Rights of the Land's Rejection, fast Dahan moving power, and then Bird's Cry Warning. So me and Laura were moving Dahan before they were fighting. So that was really nice. Yeah, pretty nice pulls there.
The first half of this game for me was kind of, and I think for all of us, honestly, was kind of, I'm not going to say lackluster, but it was one of those kinds of experiences where it's like, I'm not doing a ton of fun things. I'm doing a lot of necessary things.
Yes.
Where the choices are, boy, there are things I don't like about this option, and there are things I don't like about this option. But push has come to shove, and we don't have time. If this isn't useful, I have to, like, leave it behind. I got to do this. Are they going to build there? Doesn't matter. I have to focus about something over here because this is going to be like a triple blight if this cascades. I can't have that happen. Against Brandenburg, Prussia, here, like, especially for my early game, you guys can tell me if you felt a similar emotion or not. It was just very much a, can't care about this. I don't have time to care. I just got to go and, like, do this. Are you doing this, buddy? Doesn't matter. I got to do this.
Just do what needs to be done.
Right. You have to do what you need to do.
And when you think about it, so we had our stage 3 card, and then the next card was coastal. So on our first Ravage were 4 lands per board. Our second Ravage was 3 lands, 3 coastal lands. So in 2 turns, 7 lands ravaged per board.
It's a little messy.
That's a lot of having to, like you're saying, Ryan, to cover and be like, there's something going to slip through. And 7 lands are fighting in 2 turns. Things are going to slip through the cracks. Blight's going to happen.
Some of the coastal lands, if you had already just destroyed everybody in the Ravage, then they didn't build. But again, some of our Dahan and our towns didn't fight, so then they're still around to build, and it was a mess.
Yeah, and that's what stung is like, yes, this was supposed to be wiped out, but now it's not. Now it's building there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. Yeah. But then we went to the wetlands, so it got a little bit better.
Our event was Provincial Seat.
I wasn't a big fan of this one.
So this one is on each board, choose a land with cities. Build there.
Ironically, this one wasn't as bad as I thought.
Yeah, it was kind of fine. And on my board, I had a land with cities where I was planning to do manifestation anyway. So it's like, yeah, bring it on.
I also think I wanted things to build because Finder has a lot of slow moving powers, and I kind of wanted things to build up, especially in the wetland, and then start pushing things over to Laura's board. So I'm like, sure, if this has got a city here, build there, and I'll build a town, and I'll move both of those things in the slow faced. And then Keeper was playing Towering Wrath, and I had a couple of sacred sites set up. So yeah, go ahead and build, and I'll just go blammo there.
Yeah.
I didn't mind so much because I had already played Jagged Shards Push from the Earth, which is just a card from Stone's starting hand that just pushes up to 2 Dahan and adds a Badlands to the land. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, let's just start going ahead. And I customarily do this with some decent regularity. And that is, when in doubt on putting Badlands, I usually put on land 2 because that's where my city is. And that's on the coast, so it's likely bad guys will go there a lot.
We got our first sphere card.
Yes, on turn 3. We're like, oh my word, the game's almost halfway over.
We finally got a fear card. We got Sense of Dread.
Which is actually quite nice.
On each board, remove 1 explorer from a land matching a Ravage card.
We removed a bunch of explorers.
Yeah, we got 4 off of that one.
And there were several places, I think there was one place on John's board where they had 2 explorers. And it was going to blight, so we were able to save that.
Yeah, saved a blight cascade situation.
Right. And then there were a couple of places where they were going to build.
Yeah, just getting explorers off the map. Yep. It felt good to finally get a fear card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bit of a slog to get there.
It took a while. And especially, I think, John, because you and I are just so very acclimated to fear play styles that this was just like,
It was weird for me not to have a fear card on turn 2 before my first Ravage. Yeah.
That early?
Well, when you play with, fear spirits, and especially at low player count games, fear cards can come in pretty fast, actually. Yeah.
I'm not used...
Big stress on the lower player count games. Fear cards come in way faster with fear spirits.
Yeah, you're right. I tend to, like, even if I'm playing like a 3-player game, it's like, well, I'll bring Bringer in. Or I'll bring, let's throw an Ocean. Yeah. Of course, let's get Shadows in there. You know, it's like, so I like having these fear spirits to kind of add to the pile, but when there's Finder, I'm like, I haven't under fear yet this game.
Yep.
I don't know if Finder ever did, actually. I don't think I ever did.
You know, when we were done with the draft, you have various waves of emotions of different kinds. Among them can be varying levels of buyer's remorse / regret on, hey, should I have grabbed this character? Should I grab this spirit? And it was about turn 2 or 3 of this game. I'm like, I'm very glad I have Bringer on my team.
Because you can get, like...
Rude.
Well, you can get 16 fear from one card.
No, it all worked out. I'm just saying, you know, like, in those moments where you're like, maybe this wasn't a good idea. Like, you know, sometimes you have that, like, those very quick moments, those fleeting moments of buyer's remorse. Yeah. Like, should I have played this character? Like,
I had some feedback from people, like, during the draft say, John, why didn't you pick this spirit then? And why'd you burn them at this time?
Like,
you
could
use them. I'm like, it's so easy to sit back and reflect, like you're saying.
Goodness.
When you're in the moment, I was scrambling during that draft. I was just like, I don't know.
100%.
can't even think of spirit names right now because,
Right.
you know.
You have the other two people across from you being like, come on, pick already.
Yeah.
The clock's ticking down. You're like, when you're in the hot seat.
It's something else. Like, oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
Yes, Wildfire could have been good on my team. I didn't think of them at that point, you know?
Especially when they all just work together so differently. You don't have time to really think through all of it. And then your top pick is in the garbage from somebody else. And you're like, oh no.
That's me with Rocket League. Watching it, oh, come on, you should have gone that
Why
way,
did you
come
do that?
on.
Yeah.
And I go in there, I'm like, oh, wait, no, It's like I'm just fumbling around, driving in reverse, and just like, I can't do anything.
I do that all
Not
the time.
good.
In Smash Bros, you can save your videos. You like
Oh,
save your
yeah.
matches.
Oh.
And I'll like rewatch one and be like, John, why are you shielding so much? Like they know you're
It's
going to
so
shield, and then they
embarrassing.
can just grab you and throw you off the stage. So you're right.
It's just different when you have the benefit of, I'm not in that hot seat. I
Yes.
can look at it.
It's so
just
much easier.
all the way back from here. It is so much easier.
So it could have been good to have a Fear Spirit in Laura's team, but we adapted.
That's
we
right.
kind of
Improvised, adapted, overcame.
when
Hey,
we
Marine
got
Corps.
our first Fear card in turn 3, we're like, so maybe we'll shoot for a tier level 2 win.
Yeah, we just knew we needed to get rid of stuff.
And,
Which-
you know, the thing is that the good thing is that Brandenburg, Prussia, even at max level, does not require a ton of fear cards in order to defeat. You only need 12, which is actually not a lot for a fully maxed out adversary.
No.
Until you realize you have 8 turns to get it. You're like,
Oh no, that's when the time crunch starts hurting.
And it's one of those things where it's just like, what turn is this? Turn 3?
When John said we were halfway through, I was like, we are what?
Yeah, at the start of turn 4, I'm like, all right, the game's halfway done.
That's half of it.
We've earned 1 fear card. We've earned 16 fear in 4 turns.
So then we
3
toddled
turn,
into
3
turn 4 with our 1 fear card.
And turn 3, you are 37% of the way through the game already.
Wow.
You're like, oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay. And I looked at, we have 1 fear card, 11 to go. Okay, well, it's not a fear victory this time. If we're going to win, it's not going to be a fear victory.
We kind of started going majors at this point.
So, you know, I said one time, I think at the start of this year, at the end of last year, that I could benefit from getting mages earlier. I completely forgot that we had just 4 turns left. And I was already reaching for a major. I'm like, I'm very glad that I reached for a major, even before I didn't know that we had 4 turns left, because on turn 4, I went for a major as well.
We both went for a major. Yeah, well, Keeper did. Finder had more of a miner's build.
I went for no majors at all, but I had Finder on my team, which for Thunder Speaker, if you have a good relationship with Finder, you don't need a major.
So turn 4 was where things started to take a bigger turn towards the happy.
Now, I think this is where I did my second manifestation of power and glory. I forgot to write down which turn I did what. So, if that's confusing, yeah, I'm confused too. But,
Before you get to that, let's talk about the majors that we pulled.
all right, what'd you guys get?
I, for Keeper, gained Talons of Lightning.
Such a great one.
I know it's nothing really elemental-wise with Keeper. I mean, there's a fire with
But
Keeper.
it's fast and high damage.
Fast and high damage. Now, it can be limited because it's only in mountains and wetlands, but again, we have Finder on the team who can move things pretty easily.
Yeah.
Say my jungles were starting to build up. I'm like, hey, Finder, buddy, can you like throw me a
Right,
city?
and at this point, bad guys were everywhere.
Bad guys
So-
were everywhere, and building on the coast, and going to wetlands as we had, you know, an
Yeah.
explorer.
Yo.
What did Stone pick up?
So, for my majors, I actually pulled a lot of really good ones. It was either Bloodrack Plague or Land Thrashes and Furious Pain, which I was actually tempted with. Because by that time, I had already blighted a few times, but it was from the box. It was not from the card.
Nice.
So I was like, you know what? I might be able to use it, but it wasn't super blighted. It was just like the back half
Mhm.
and on the corner. But my inland lands are actually pretty okay.
Pretty clear.
So there was that card, but there was also Pyroclastic Flow or Winds of Rust and Atrophy. Oh man, I love this card. Man, I love this card. John, we once did a gift card series. Part of me wants to do a general major list. It doesn't even have to be limited to majors, but like always good cards, whether they be minors or majors.
I would love like a
This is
favorite
one of them.
majors series. I would love that.
This is one of them. The famous Defend 6, give you a fear, and downgrade a bad guy building. And of course, if you have 3 air, 3 water, and 2 animal, you can repeat the sucker, which is great. Range 3 of a sacred site. I was like, you know what? I know it doesn't have any earth, but I need defend cards, and my elusive ambushes was starting to lose value because my Dahan were starting to get clumped up because I kept Well, I'm clumping them up. So, and I didn't have, in my opinion, enough fast Dahan control where I could quickly get them where I needed to for elusive ambushes to work. So I was like, you know what? I booted elusive ambushes and I got Winds of Rust and Atrophy.
Now, can you explain to me? I understand like Defense 6 is great. It's range 3 from a sacred site,
Love
so
it.
that's amazing. You get 1 fear, but I don't know. There's something to me that's always like, just replace it, like just downgrade it.
Oh, so
I want to
good.
wipe it off the map.
Oh, so good.
You do like going boom, Laura. That's true.
Like it doesn't feel right to downgrade something because then you're like, well, when we blow it up, now it's 1 less fear.
The thing that's really nice, the thing that's very nice is this is a fast card. The thing that's really great about it is that whoever you are downgrading, yes, this card downgrades and it defends. So that means that if you have to use defense in a land where there's a city, that city is going to soak up a lot of your defense. So the moment you downgrade that to a town, that's less defense is being soaked up by a building and another defense that can be used elsewhere on another target in that land. For instance, we're going up against Sweden. Hey, 5 versus 3 damage. That's kind of big. The moment you downgrade that, it just went in your favor by like 2, which is really handy. What I do really like about it is so many cards in this game manipulate towns or destroy towns or do something with towns. Very little straight up pop cities or straight up move cities or something like that, but there's a lot more town control or town interactions. So the moment you can take a city and make it a town, the percentage of cards in the decks that can now interact with that invader that you just downgraded has increased significantly because it's a town now.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
The minor,
which I really like.
The minor deck opens up, like Ryan's saying. There's not many city cards in the minor deck, but there are tons of town cards in the minor deck that control or destroy.
This is the Crops, Wither, and Fade that's available to everyone.
In the fast phase, Crops is slow.
I cannot tell you how many times I have clinched a Terror 3 win because, and I know you have done this too, John. How many cities do we have left? There's 2. Bam, bam. Repeat this power, and we're out.
Both cities are gone in the fast phase.
But here's the thing. It's also cheap. If it was a like blow it up thing, it probably would be like 4 or 5.
That's true.
But it has really good range. Range 3, that's really
And if you have the elements, you can repeat it for free.
Yeah.
You know what would be hard to do is to rank the 3 energy majors. Because, oh boy, there are incredible ones.
Rapid Wings of Sunlight.
Yes.
Jungle Hungers.
Yes.
Power Storm.
Towering Wrath. Wait, that's not a major.
May as well be, honestly.
Pent Up Calamity, Vigor of the Breaking
yeah.
Dawn. There's so many good ones. And like you're saying, a lot of spirits can do 3.
Yeah.
Even Thunder Speaker can do 3.
Thunder Speaker, Shadows can do it, even with like a 3/3 build. Many spirits, Finder can do it, even they're doing like a bottom track.
But a lot of spirits, if they're going to play 5, it's like, this is maybe the one time in the game I can pay 5.
I can play this
Quite
card
possible.
one time if it's 5 energy.
Yeah, and, you know, with Winds of Rust, the thing is like, I think a lot of the emotion for why I love Winds of Rust and Atrophy as well as Indomitable Claim stem from the fact that since 2017, I remember these cards as being very good for, oh crap, I need to fix this right now without doing one of these.
So you're saying you have more memories attached to this card?
Because as a beginner player, my gameplay style was, oh crap, fix every problem. And these cards let me do that. As opposed to, take a hit and deal it back later. Which
true.
is what my play style is more like now. Anyway, I found Winds of Rust, so that was a very impactful, remember this, acquisition that happened this turn. But, as Laura said, she did something very fun.
This was the second time I got to play Manifestation of Power and Glory. John and I had been building up to it.
We were building up an E-board. I believe your land 8 was a wetland.
Mm-hmm.
It is a wetland,
It's a skinny little thing. And boy, did we pack that to the brim.
Look at this.
It's a pretty fun little photo that Ryan got.
To the listener at home, we took some photos of this game, and I'm going to put a hyperlink in the description, so if you want to go ahead and look at them, feel free.
So in that land, we had, what was it? I ended up with 3 presents and 8 Dahan for a total of 24 damage. We destroyed 3 cities, 7 towns, and an explorer or 2.
Wow. That is why this combo of
your first, in this
so
land, your second use was 3 cities, 7 towns, and 1 explorer, yep.
Did you happen to write down which turn I did that on?
No, yeah, it was this one.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was turn 4.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool,
we're
cool,
right.
cool. Yeah, that's why it's so nice to work with Finder, because sometimes Thunderspeaker is like, I can get my army to anywhere, but there's nothing like grouped up that's like big enough to really hit. So when Finder came out in Promo Pack 2, and the first time we played it together, it was just like, this works so well. We even negotiated, hey, I have this much damage. I can bring in this many more Dahan to get more damage.
Mhm.
How many cities and towns can you bring over here?
Well, that was 14 fear, right? Because one comes from the card.
14 fear. Finally, we're
Yes.
starting to earn some fear.
It was
3
amazing.
cities, 7 towns. That's 13 plus 1 from the card. And we only need 16 in order to, for a 4-player game to get a fear card.
It was fun.
I've seen this because Finder and Thunderspeed were grouping up so much. I've seen people like almost have a reminder card for a land where things are supposed to be. Of just like, it's not even on the islands. Like, oh, this is land 8 on F board or whatever. But it's really just on like an index card of like, here's all the things on there. Because it was starting to get so packed.
Man.
It was. But, I mean, when you see Dahan in very high numbers, as well as Finder conglomerating all bad guys in high numbers in a land, and you see a certain particular ever-rising stack of Thunderspeaker presence increasing, you're like, oh, I know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
baby.
And so, unfortunately, the event here for this turn
Darn
was
that
just
event.
like a little, it didn't ruin the happiness of that moment, but it's just like a little, like one of those things where it's
Like if
just like
someone blew out the candles on your birthday cake. Yes, you
Yeah,
still got
like-
cake, but,
It's like, no. And that was, we got Resourceful Populace, which was once an action destroys bad guys, you add a town in an adjacent land. I had told John, I was like, it's like Dahan Insurrection. Like a bad guy died and then I'm over here. Like,
So fortunately, my one action of destroying all of those towns and cities only got us one more town, which I then stuck right next door into another land I was planning to destroy anyway.
so it wasn't the
but
worst, but still, like we said,
it
it was
was
just like
annoying.
It's one of those things where you can't get around it because it's just add.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
yeah.
between the escalations and then some, unfortunate events, we just couldn't get rid of towns fast enough.
And we think we did this correctly, where every time we defended and the Dahan fought back and killed a town or city, we added a town to an adjacent land there as well.
Right,
so
because
the whole
action
entire
did it. It didn't
Yeah.
specify spirit action.
the whole entire counterattack phase, the whole entire slow phase, we were just like,
We couldn't
we
get rid
got
of buildings.
stuff off, but then we had to bring some stuff back on. It was just,
The only other funny thing isn't necessarily a huge thing. It was just like, it was always fun moments. Remember how last time we talked about Bentley,
Yeah.
the turtle?
The
We're like,
snapping
"Eh."
turtle.
Well, of course, the turn I get Winds of Rust and Atrophy, I play Winds of Rust and Atrophy on a turn where there was 2 towns and 3 Dahan, and one of them was our resident Flat Top.
Flat Top Dahan!
we love Flat Top.
If you're unaware, we have a Dahan, a physical Dahan piece in my copy. I believe you guys have one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
I
Where
wonder how many
you know
people
how,
have a flat top.
Yeah, Dahan, the shape is just like a little mushroom. It's curved on the top. Well, we have one that must have bonked his head on the way out of the warehouse or something because he got a haircut. The little
Completely
piece
flat.
looks like a little top hat.
Yeah.
Should have made them all
and-
like that. You could just stack them up.
And so we're like, hey, Flat Top going on a killing spree.
Overkill.
Was it really a killing spree? No, it was just, hey, a famous Dahan going ham. We're like, yay.
There's go Flat Top.
So, turn 4 was an impactful turn. We had the massive Manifestation Power and Glory go crazy. Keeper gets Talons of Lightning, which would go on to be good. We'll talk about it. Stone got Winds of Rust and Atrophy, which turned out to be pretty good. We had the annoying Resourceful Populace, and Flat Top took out some towns. No
But-
lie.
Now we're moving into level 3. So we had
Again.
to explore sands and mountains. So it is starting to pick up.
But turn 4 was the one where I went from, I don't know if we can win this, to maybe?
You start feeling better?
A little bit.
Good.
It was feeling risky by turn 3.
Okay.
Because, like I said, I was like, what turn is it?
One fear card.
3? 1 fear card? Oh,
We're,
dear.
we're blighting a lot.
But
we're not
thankfully,
counterattacking enough.
Finder exists.
Hey.
And he was like, here, Thunderspeaker, take all of these bad guys.
Take all of this.
And Keeper was like, take these to Han. I do not care.
I was purposely trying to make sacred sites in lands with Dahan, where I'd just be like, keep shoving, keep shoving, keep shoving.
Shove,
Yep.
shove.
Yeah, to Thunderspeaker.
So it was hilarious because Keeper, Finder, and Thunderspeaker were all doing like this teamwork thing, and there I am up to my waist in Blighton. How you doing there, Stone? I just hold up a thumbs up, but just
That feels so much like a Stone play of just
Yeah.
like, you are
You do
very
you.
self-sufficient, Ryan.
And we'll talk about this at the end, but it was very good that I kept adding blight from the box.
It was very helpful.
I mean, that's, I think, the biggest support that
Yep.
Stone does.
and that's why they need to rewrite the rules for winning.
Oh.
for score.
Just for Stone.
So let's
You
talk
know.
about turn 5, which was also a pretty nice turn.
What did Stone do? What card did
This
you pick
was
up?
the turn of
This is
support
really big.
powers.
I think so.
This
No,
was
no,
the turn
yeah.
of support.
Seriously. No, yeah. I mean,
I
you
think
got
this turn
one.
I played a support power and forgot I'd played it till halfway through, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, anybody want support?"
Oh yeah,
Not
because
used to
Laura
doing
got one
that.
too. We all got
Yeah.
this turn. We all picked up a support power.
And they all were useful.
Finder got to pick up Spur On
Oh,
with Words of Fire.
one of my favorites. Oh, one of my favorites. Hey, buddy, do you want another card play and an energy? Here you go.
Well, what's funny with this is, yeah, we're playing really supportive, but when you play two-handed, we talk about this, you kind of just, like, develop your own combos with just yourself. So I'm like, does anyone need Spur On? You guys were like, maybe. I'm like, well, Keeper can use it. So I just, like, was supportive with me.
Jason comes in. I'll take it.
Jason's back!
Jason's still sick. Go away.
Oh. But anyway, Keeper got to play an extra card play. I love you, Jason.
Yay!
So yeah, Spur On was great because I was kind of focusing on that top track with Keeper to afford Talons of Lightning, which is 6 costing. It does,
It's pricey.
It's a hefty price because it's fast, it gives you 3 fear and does 5 damage.
And you didn't go
Yeah.
top track with Keeper, so you were for Keeper relatively poor.
I did do
You did a-
top track with Keeper.
You did a hybrid.
I did a hybrid.
You didn't get a lot off your top track because it was a fast game. I just looked over and you're like, oh, you're only getting 4 money. Energy.
I ended up at 7. I got to 7. Luckily, Spur On gives an energy, so it allowed me to afford, I was actually 1 energy shy, but allowed me to afford Talons of Lightning.
Well done, Spur On.
Seriously, really. Remember how we just talked about good cards that are
Yeah.
always good? Spur On is one of them.
Always good, especially with Keeper. You can kind of get in a reclaim loop because I can still place presence and reclaim with
Yeah.
Keeper.
Yeah.
So that was, really good pull for Finder. It has a lot of Finder elements. I love the sun. I love the air for Finder. And this was the turn I finally reclaimed. And I love reclaiming with Finder because I get limitless range. I'm just like,
yes.
John, can you push that? Sure. You're not there. Don't care.
Don't care.
Those were always lovely.
Can that go here? Of course.
The biggest plays
Anything
happen
you want.
often when this happens.
Yeah.
Laura got Scream Disease into the Wind.
I did. That's the card I forgot I was doing anything with until...
It was
you
one of
know,
those
we
hilarious
used it.
moments where someone's like, I can do it. I don't really need to know who it goes to. I'm playing it. You figure out between yourselves who
Right.
likes it the most.
Midway through the fast phase, I'm like, hey, does anybody want +1 with all your powers? And also here, I threw a disease at them. Put a disease
Yep.
down.
+1 range with all your powers.
But
and
Ryan, what
wherever
did it
you
allow you to do?
Wait, I thought I got it.
We talked.
That's
we
what was
talked.
funny. I'm like, I can do it. Well, I really don't need it, so...
And I was like, well, I'm going to have a land that's going to build here. There's just an explorer. I had Steam Vents, and
Mhm.
Steam Vents is range 0. And I was like, you know what? I could really benefit from having it. And hey, throwing a disease onto a coastal wetland, not bad. So it wasn't huge, but it was just nice. I like getting explorers off of lands when you're playing a spirit that doesn't have like very many fast, attacky, anti-explorer stuff. And that's one of the things that's really great about Steam Vents is that it just gives you just a really nice capability to just get off. And it's just a destroy an explorer in the fast phase.
And for cheap.
Yep.
And then when you've got that
But the
extra,
problem though is you have to
elements,
be there.
Yeah.
You have to be there, but I wasn't. So I really needed that range. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Hooray.
Absolutely.
I was very fortunate. I got Sky Stretches to Shore.
Oh!
Oh my goodness.
All right,
This card.
when are we doing our minor power tier list? Because Sky Stretches near the top for old John
It's
Boy.
the only card in the game that can make a fast power slow.
Unless you are lightning.
Oh, no, listen
Wait.
again. Listen, fast power slow.
Oh.
The only thing in the game that makes a fast slow. Now you can make a slow fast, and that is also very nice.
I've done this one time. Can I tell it?
Go for it.
I made Pent Up Calamity slow.
Nice.
I was against France, and all those explorers turned into towns, and then I placed
and then
the
you
strife.
hit it. The fear.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I got the fear and the strife. So
Yup.
one time I played it slow. I guess it doesn't really matter. I don't know.
Well, hey, like you said, letting bad guys build so that there's more buildings.
Yeah, because then the
meaning-
city
yeah.
builds, and I got to strife that
And
city.
Pent Up Calamity has the capacity to do so much damage.
Mhm.
Oh, it's great. And that's not even all that it does. Even if it stopped there, it's like, not bad. But so long as you are targeting a coastal land, you get +3 range.
With sky stretches, that's so much.
Oh, 3 range? That's insane. So we're like, yep, you know what? I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. Yep. Yet again, another really decent, you know what? Never bad to have kind of power.
Yeah.
It had sun, which is like, whatever. But it had air, water, and earth. And I'm like, oh, water, air, and earth. Earth for my innates, and then air, water for Winds of Rust and Atrophy, which
Ooh.
requires air and water in order to hit the kicker. So I was like, you know what? I like it. I like it. So we got these fun support cards, which would go on later for fun things. We'll get into it. But remember how we said that Laura was shoving those extra bad guys into that nearby land when she did her first manifestation of power and glory? Well, that'd be a shame if...
Oh no, I got my reclaim 1, and I got my manifestation of power and glory back.
Hey! A really big shame if she did it again.
Yeah, I got my reclaim back. I managed to get another presence into that land, brought my presents with me.
Let's check out the photo.
That might be one of the most strongest perks on a track
Oh
that
my
you can get is
gosh.
a Reclaim 1.
I
love it
love
so
that.
It might be
much.
the strongest perk you can get.
It might be my favorite.
Because you usually find, like, that one card that is really just working for this game.
Yeah.
Now, hear me out, John. I know that Trickster has shove a Dahan from your land, but Reclaim 1 is kind of dope.
Whoa, pushing 1 down pretty strong.
Although I will make an argument for any element.
Yes, yeah.
But-
Ooh, good point. Any element, that's always very flexible.
But yeah, Reclaim 1 is.
Reclaim 1's so nice.
It's really amazing. And again, I had the help of John and Ryan shoving everything into my land.
I think Keeper this turn made a sacred site and pushed a few more Dahan into that land.
Yes, and
so
I think you
Keeper
even played
helped
a
out there.
power that allowed you to push like a town.
I actually
something.
had nothing to do on this one. This was all you.
Oh, never mind. But this time I ended up with 6 presents and 5 Dahan for a total of 30 damage.
Well, it was funny. She was calculating all the damage. She's like, you know, I actually can do more, but I don't need to do all this. I only need to do this much. So this Dahan, you can go over there,
You can
buddy.
stay.
Yeah,
and
I
you
was
over
able
here,
to, like,
you can
shunt
stay
some
home.
people off to the side for the
Yeah.
next turn.
That was fun.
It was nice
Um,
to see efficiency because that meant that you were allowing yourself to have a better capacity to attack elsewhere in other lands on future turns
Yeah.
quickly.
It wasn't
Definitely.
just like, I want to do the maximum amount of damage. It was like, how much damage
Right.
can I do? John's already shoved everything he can in here.
Because Finder is still here, but we don't want to have them go overtime if, you know, that
Right.
would mean
Right.
that it would take
Because I
them
still
away
had to
from other
focus on
problems.
my board as Finder. That's the
Sure.
one thing of like, yeah, I want to keep helping out Thunderspeaker, but then like, you know.
My board, and there are 2 explorers on it.
Mhm.
Right.
So I ended up doing 30 damage. This time we got rid of 3 cities, 6 towns, and like 5 explorers.
5 explorers.
Wow.
So
Yep.
that one just wiped everything out.
So last time it was 3-7-1. This time it was 3-6-5.
I had 2 leftover damage.
Oh well.
Oh well, can't win them all. It worked
There's
out
nothing wrong with just a
pretty
little
well.
overkill. 13 fear this time, but let's see. Last time you had 11 invaders killed. This time you had 14 invaders killed.
Mm.
So both of them were very big uses. We're like, oh nice, we get to do it again.
Those were fun.
Yes, it was a fun combo with like Finder, Thunderspeaker, but you really cover my flaws. I didn't generate a single fear this game. I'm pretty sure it's Finder.
It was teamwork.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the photos here while you guys are talking, and I'm like, oh man, look at all of these invaders just on this one big clump. And then turn 4 happens, and you know the first land is clear. Then turn 5 happens, and the other land is clear. So you see like all these little Dahan just going like from right to left, like just like windshield wiper sweeping the invaders off the board
map.
right there. It's
It's
so
like when
great.
the riders of Rohan just go across the battle of the Pelennor
Oh
Fields.
yes!
Ooh.
Ba-ba-bam-bam-ba-dum-bum-bum. There it is.
Smashing those orcs. All right, but then we did end up with Lesser Spirits Imperiled. John, tell us how you got us out of that mess.
Well,
That was actually kind of funny.
we talked about this. Lesser Spirits, it's one of those choice events. So you can
I hate choice events because I don't like doing stuff by committee.
I do like the events where it's like each spirit chooses whether to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna do this because reasons. You can do whatever you want.
Where you can pull a random minor power, and if it has a certain element, you remove Blight from the card. And we were getting pretty close to flipping that card, and we just don't like flipping Blight
It was
cards.
a little icky.
A little icky type of thing. And
Yeah, especially not when there's, level 6 adversaries.
yeah.
Well, and the other option, and if it had the beast symbol, you had to destroy one Dahan in a land with Blight, and I didn't want to do that either.
I think that was the kicker. It's like, yeah, we don't want to blight the island, like flip the card, but if we're losing to Han, that is like one of our powerhouses.
Not in this game. No,
That's
no,
losing their army.
Or
Or there's the one where you can pay for it. Costs 4 energy per player, aided by plant. you get to destroy one of your presents, but if you do that, you get to add a permanent element.
This is not the first time that this has helped us. I believe this helped us in our Hepsbok game.
I believe,
Hepsbok
yes, it
game.
did.
Yeah, another level 6 adversary that we needed help with.
The funny thing was, John was like, all right, so it is aided by plant. Laura and I both looked down. I'm like, I have literally 0 plant cards, and I have 2 money.
Yep.
Laura says,
I have 1 money and no plant.
And all my cards had plans.
and John was like, I mean, I guess I could forget my whole hand.
I pretty much.
Keeper literally did.
Well, you're looking at Talons of Lightning. I'm like, this is kind of my hitter.
Another thing, this is turn 5. How many turns do we have left?
3.
You are really looking at these cards in your hand like, how many of these am I going to use?
That's
with
true.
the build that I
Yeah.
have? How many of these have I actually used? There are some cards in my hand that I never use a single time.
Mm-hmm. So this can be a complaint for Keeper, but I think I was still being thematic where I was shoving Dahan off my lands. Because I know, like, I lost my identity with Talons of Lightning, but I was still able to spread some wilds.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I forgot Dark and Tangled Woods, Boon of Growing Power, Towering Wrath, and Regrow from Roots. So you're right, it was half my hand and that Dark and Tangled Woods that I picked up in the first turn.
It's still thematic if you think about it. Woods attract lightning, lightning starts forest fires, and that does some big damage. Boom, there you go.
Okay.
Hooray.
I just have heard complaints where Keeper just turns into like a Major's bot type of thing.
I do.
I had some identity left in me, right?
Yeah.
I was still Keeper-ish, but yeah, we had to pay for it. And we got permanent elements.
Yeah.
Which is really nice, yeah.
What did everyone pick?
I got air because I just wanted more Dahan movement.
I think I picked plants for Finder for my isolate innate. I don't have a lot of plants. I want to get all my isolates as I could. So I chose plant for Finder.
And here I am as stone, so it's pretty straightforward. You can guess it already. I picked
Water.
Animal.
Wait, what? I was going to say sun.
That's right.
All right, so why did stone
At
pick
first,
animal?
you may think, well, why not go for earth? Because all of your innates need earth and badly. Well,
Wait, you weren't joking?
No, not joking. I picked animal.
No, you picked animal.
I thought we were
picked
both
animal.
doing a bit. Okay, never
No,
mind.
this is not bit.
It's true that you would think I would go for Earth, but no, I went for Animal because in order to hit the kicker for Winds of Rust and Atrophy, I needed a second animal. Now, Atrophy gives you one, but the only other card that I have that gives you Animal is Stubborn Solidity, and that card was just not cutting it for me in the late game.
Mhm.
Like, hey, we have a ton of bad guys. What do you want to do? Defend 1 per Dahan.
Yay.
Alright, yes, Dahan can be killed, and that allows them to counterattack and stuff, but I'm like, I need something big and crazy. I don't know.
That was smart.
So I was like, I'm gonna do this. I told John, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna do Animal because I need to hope against hope that I can get the kicker for Atrophy so that we can do it as many times as possible because that's gonna help, I swear.
Put a pin in that one for the next turn, too.
But yeah, like Ryan's talking about, we were starting to get into the end game.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
Keeper, yeah, forget my hand. Ryan, I need animal.
That was a really interesting
We're
thing. We
going
all
for
kind
it.
of ended up with, like, this is what we're able to almost spam. This is just the direction we are in.
I'm
This is where we
telling
are.
you, Laura, Winds and Rust of Atrophy is really good in the end game.
See?
Fine, I believe you.
But after all these, because Ryan had some slapbacks and Laura was generating fear, Talons of Lightning was getting fear, we finally, after turn 5, got into Terror level 2.
Woo!
Turn 5.
Turn 5.
4 fear cards.
Turn 5. There's 3 turns left.
So we had to ask ourselves, is this the time where we rush fear?
Oh, man.
Or do we just try and, like, murder everything on the planet?
We have 63% of the game already behind us, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna have to try to get a terror victory. There's no way we're getting fear.
Now-
no way. I mean, we already knew that, but it's just reinforced. Like, nope, not happening.
Now, our explorer was the jungle and sands.
Yeah.
So we ended up with a bunch of explorers out there that we're going to build the next turn. Moving into turn 6.
I was bitter about this one because a lot of my isolates missed.
Ooh, hey.
I remember that.
Yeah.
But shout out though, between Finder's Isolates and Keeper's Wilds tokens, you actually did stop a good number of explorers.
Okay,
You
I
did.
stopped.
Your build,
There
your board
were
was pretty
several-
clear.
I stopped a lot of the
times.
coastal ones, but there were some
Several times.
inland ones that snuck through that I was grumpy
Well,
about.
I mean, it's not going to be perfect.
Not
You
gonna
don't
be
know
perfect.
where they're going.
True.
But you stopped multiple.
But the way
Keeper's
it
wilds
looked,
were good.
at turn 6, we only had 1 city and 4 towns remaining. But we had a bunch of explorers in both of our jungles and our sands that were going to build towns. And there was no way for us to rush fear because we just weren't fear people.
It's like yelling at Finder, Finder, give us more fear! And the wings are just like, what?
What am I going to do?
I'll flap at them.
You've come to the wrong bird. I
Right?
need panda lightning.
Yeah, pandemonium lightning.
So that's where it got interesting. Turn 6 happened pretty quick because we were all of a sudden just like, how do we get these 4 towns and 1 city off the board before the build?
There's a point in every game where it's like...
I was just about to say this.
Say it.
Yes.
Say it.
Yes, where you see the spark of,
We can win.
oh,
There's a way.
there's a way.
But it
like
has
it's
to be
right
this.
there.
It's always like, but can it work?
Right.
Yes.
You have to do it very specifically. Very
And
specifically.
like plan out, then you do this power, and
Right.
then I do that.
This,
Yes.
and then this one, and then, yeah.
Because at first, my strategy, I always end up having strategy like right at the end. I'm like, I know what everybody needs to do right now. And, not knowing what's happening for like the 5 turns before that. But my strategy was I can defend in both of my lands with a town. So then in the Ravage, they'll die. But
See, I don't like doing that because events can just
Exactly.
destroy
I
your
know.
plan.
and
I
even
know.
sometimes the fear
Farmers, no.
in all of their well-meaningness, the fear cards can sometimes
True.
be like, we're going to make this not happen. And you're like, you
Dang it.
stink.
Skip this next thing, but no.
needed that to ravage because I needed that to die.
So we were able to do 3 things to make it happen.
Yep. There were explorers everywhere. And since it's a stage 3 card, it's like, oh man, they're going to go and build everywhere if we don't get it in this fast phase.
We're going to lose if they build.
Yeah.
Basically.
Kind of took me back to
Like a
John,
slow and painful
our
death.
Russia game.
Yeah.
In season 1, like, it has to be the fast phase. It has to. If it's not, we're dead.
We're going to lose.
Or at least, maybe not dead, but in this case, we're not going to clinch it if we can't do it the fast phase right now. Because there's gonna be
Spoilers.
a lot of towns.
We didn't clinch it.
That was a year ago.
Yeah, we're better now. More trained.
Remember how I said I didn't have anything flashy or crazy, but just very functional and necessary? This was the first turn where I was able to do, all right, this was definitely my play of the game.
This is
It was
time
at the
to
very end. So at the very end, John, you only had what? 1 town
One town.
on your board, right?
So I use Talons of Lightning. Yes, I know it's super overpriced, but it's a fast power that can destroy.
Kaboom,
So
done.
and Keeper can afford it. So that was my Keeper play.
Yep.
Was destroy that town.
Finder didn't have... I have the picture here on my phone here. Finder's board, literally a single explorer. At this
Okay.
moment.
Okay.
At this
Well
moment,
done. Okay,
Finder
pretty
had
good.
1
Pretty good.
explorer
But
on
we
their
still
board.
need to Finder in this game because what did Finder do?
I
Because-
shuffled. I did Finder things.
Yeah, on Laura's board, there were 2 towns. To
Yeah.
which John said, so, Laura, do you need me to, like, boot that guy into 1 land? And you're like, please.
So John grouped him up. I marched my little army in the fast phase. And in the fast phase, I led the Furious Assault and destroyed both of the towns.
Is that the innate?
Yes, that's
Okay,
my
the
right
speaker.
innate, where you can destroy a town for every 2 Dahan.
Yeah.
So I just brought 4 Dahan with me, murdered both the towns at once.
And you had your 4 air to make it fast.
Yep.
Nice.
It's their
And
resident
so it was clear.
building popper
That's
power.
why, man, Thunder Speaker's so strong. It's like, oh, by the way,
I
now you can
know.
make this fast.
And-
what?
and
Come
what if
on.
those-
But
were-
I keep forgetting, like, Thunder Speaker can't do it in every single land.
Right.
Oh, boo
You know?
hoo. Boo freaking hoo.
But hey,
I'm,
when
like,
you're
happy
going
about
up against
Crops Wither.
England, that's a nice power to have against England.
It is a nice
So-
power to have.
And then Ryan,
Keeper was
How'd it
able to
go?
clear their board. Finder was, well, I mean, their board was fine.
flitting around on other people's boards.
With John's assistance, Laura was able to smack the 2 towns off her board. So on my board, there was just 2 towns and a city. So what I had to do is I went and used Sky Stretches to make my Scarred and Stony Land into a fast power, which says just do 2 damage in a land that's blighted. So the land was blighted, killed the town that was in there.
Nice.
Good.
Added a Badlands for fun measure, removed a blight, so that's going to be helpful for Laura's score just a little bit.
Thank you. After you
So
added
there
18.
was 1 of 2 towns that needed to go. Then, in the other land that had a single town and a bunch of explorers, I did steam vents, but because I had 3 earth, I hit the kicker on steam vents, which says normally destroy an explorer, but the upgrade version says you may destroy a town, so there goes
Pop
that
that,
one.
boy.
And because I played Scarred and Stony Land, Sky Stretches, Steam Vents, and Winds of Rust and Atrophy, I had enough air, I had enough water and animal to do it once, do it twice, downgraded the city into a town, and then again into an explorer. Boom.
And that was it.
There it is.
No more cities or towns left on our board.
Terror level 2, turn 6.
So there you go.
Woo!
Our game, Laura's team was able to defeat Brandenburg, Prussia level 6.
I'd say shock and awe lived up to its name.
Hooray. And I was so glad that Winds and Rust of Atrophy once again closed out the game.
Once again.
It oh so often is a closer.
Since 2017, been winning games for people.
It's like the closer since
is.
like
I love that
forever.
for any spirit. Any spirit I can make it work.
It's so good.
Lord, so a lot of our games that we've played, most of our games, we've won in Terror Level 3. I would say as a group, most of our games are in Terror Level 3.
Yep, the majority.
Did you think you would have to win at Terror Level 2? This is pretty rare that we win with just explorers on the map.
If you're asking me what I was anticipating for this game, I had no anticipation.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it became pretty clear by at least halfway through that we are not going to get a fear victory.
Mm-hmm.
We are not going to even get near Terror Level 3. So, you know, like I didn't come into it with strategy. At a certain point, the strategy just kind of solidified itself. Yeah.
So we had a 6-turn game, of which only one of them had a fast phase. It wasn't a full turn. And as you can see, the first 3 turns were very different from the latter 3 turns.
Yeah, we kind of turned a corner for sure.
And it got fun.
And it started on turn 4.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was worried. And the first half, I'm like, ooh, they had us in the first half. Not gonna lie.
And we didn't get the best events. We weren't getting any fear cards.
One of the things we actually did this time is we actually went and recorded some of our stats that we don't usually keep because, you know, we kind of want to make this fun and we also want to have something to verifiably compare to with John's and my game.
I will say, I also think I'm going to have to win in Terror Level 2 because I'm thinking about my team. I have green, river, next to no fear.
No
Wind
fear.
lightning, not pandemonium.
Right.
Wind lightning.
You have a lot more support, though, in your
And then
team.
Starlight, depends
be
on Starlight's
anything.
build, can be anything. But so, I might also have to win in Terror Level 2.
For mine,
You're
I'm
fine.
cautiously optimistic.
Yeah,
I have
you're fine.
Bringer and I have Downpour.
That's some
But
pretty good
mainly
fear.
Bringer.
Maybe Bringer.
But Downpour finds one rain of blood. It's a
Yeah.
fear victory.
Yep. So, Laura, would you like to go and tell everyone what your final score was?
This is the final semi-disputed score because Stone just got screwed over. The score was 64.
That's the big number to remember. 64.
All right, so we had 35 explorers killed. We killed 37 towns, and we killed 10 cities. We downgraded 2 of them.
Yeah.
I don't think any of that was, like, points, though. That's just stats.
These
for
are
fun.
just fun stats.
These are just funsies.
Fun
These are the
stats.
fun stats.
We killed more towns than explorers.
Isn't that nifty?
Yeah.
Well done, us.
To be
Probably
fair,
because
though,
by the end we were like, we
Brandenburg,
need to get rid
Prussia
of
does
towns.
put a lot of them on the
Yeah.
escalation.
They add them with the escalation, and then
We got that.
Stupid ones where, hey, towns don't participate.
or
Add
the,
towns back on.
the adjacent one, like
Yeah.
add an
Yeah.
adjacent town.
Yup.
And with isolation and wilds tokens, we didn't have a whole lot of explorers
No.
on the map.
There were 35 explorers that were killed from us, but we had an additional 8 that were removed from a fear card.
Here's why
Okay.
Bringer's also going to be good for you, especially in a big player game, flipping over that fear card
Oh,
and
and seeing it coming.
strategizing.
Yeah.
Because we had some misses with
Yeah.
our fear cards, like, oh,
We could have
Unfortunately.
played as something different.
I wish a Dahan would have been here to remove this or something. I wish I would have had a presence here to
Sure.
remove this. So that's another like bonus.
To be
for
fair,
your
we only
team.
had 4 of them.
We only had
To be fair.
We won on 4 fear cards.
To be fair.
Only earned 4 fear.
I'd say go team. We had 3 blight left on the healthy side.
Never
of the
blighted.
Never
Well,
blight.
like, flip
Never
the blight
blighted.
card, I mean.
Yeah,
Never
never flipped it.
We only healed 3 blight. 2 of them went back to the box.
I had 2 of those.
I did one that one time. Regrow from roots or
Regrow from roots.
Yeah,
Yep.
it is.
The one that went back to the card was from John. The other 2 were from me, and they went back to the box.
And our miles per gallon on Manifestation of Power and Glory. Total, I got 7 cities, 13 towns, 6 explorers, and 3 uses of
Yep,
that
all
card.
from 3 uses of that card. You got 26 invaders killed by using it 3 times.
Oh, we should totally up the fear
Well
from that.
done.
7 cities, 13 towns, and 6 explorers. So you
So-
used it 3 times, so that's 3 fear.
Yep. So
7 times 2 is 14. 14 plus 13 is 27 plus 3. Wow. And even 30.
30 fear
Dang.
for
Yay.
manifestation of power and
Not
glory.
bad, dudette.
Well done there. All right, so my total scoring. So we got 50 points for difficulty, which I believe we're all starting off with, right?
Yes,
all
because
gonna
we're
be
doing level
right,
6.
yeah.
Level
Yep.
6.
Yippee,
We got
yippee,
10 for winning, so I hope you guys lose. That'll help me. We got 2 points for having 2 cards left in the invader deck.
2 per.
We got 5 points for our Dahan, because it's 4 Dahan give you 1 point left alive.
We had 23 left, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
think we lost 1.
And then you get -1 point for every 4 blight on the board.
Which
and
there
I feel
were
like
11.
this is where Stone just gets a little screwed over, because Stone brought a lot of blight out of the box.
I took some
and then
on.
dumped it on my board.
You keep bringing this up, so would you not count blight as a scoring mechanism then for the
I would
vengeance?
say Stone keeps track of what blight they take out of the box and whatnot, and we just take that out of the...
Because
I guess you could make the argument in Vengeance's case, like, it's too easy to win if you lean into the blight. So
I
a
guess-
higher score be, like, it's so hard to win
Yeah.
without it.
enjoys
I feel like
blight.
this scoring probably makes a lot of sense if you're just playing with the original characters, but then
The
as they
scoring
start
also
to, like,
came
use...
out with the original game.
Right, as they start to use more, they use blight now as like a resource, which is such a cool mechanism, and I love it. It just, I mean, now that I'm making a big stink out of it, it would have gotten me 1 more point, so never mind.
I hope
It
you lose
is-
by 1 point. I hope I get
is-
65.
Completely up to you how much you want to care about this scoring mechanism, and I don't care. All I care about is if we win.
I would like a recount if I lose.
Oh, jeez.
If it's close by 1 point, I'm gonna lose my mind.
jeez. That's funny.
So yeah, 64 points for shock and awe.
Not bad.
I think the biggest thing for Brandenburg, Prussia in scoring, you lose a lot of points because you have so few invader cards left. Like for France, if you win in turn 6 against France, then you still have 6 more cards left in the deck. That's still 12 more points you're adding to your score. That's really nice. But with Brandenburg, Prussia, there's so many less cards in the deck, so you almost always start with the lower score because you only have 8 turns to begin with.
To be honest, I don't care about that because you guys are gonna have the same problem I do. So.
Exactly, yeah, so it'll be pretty even. But I'm just saying,
And
usually
it's all for
Brandenburg,
funsies anyway.
Brandenburg
Yeah.
Prussia scores are usually pretty low. It's hard to get into the 70s with Brandenburg
But
Prussia.
shouldn't it just be I'm only comparing my score against other Brandenburg Prussia level 6s, you know, because of all the things you just mentioned?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, I'm going to beat you, but
I don't know. See, John, you were controlling 2 spirits. We're going to hopefully have a 4th guest.
yes.
And if they're not in the same experiential level as we are, who knows? Laura's team might have the most amount of veterans
Also,
on the team.
oh, true.
I'm
in the game.
dumpster fire at every spirit you picked. So, have fun with that. Enjoy.
I have Volcano on my team!
Yeah, see, Ryan thought about me.
You don't like wind lightning?
I don't know
I
what
love
wind
when
lightning
Can I
does.
please-
Ryan can do wind.
Can I please be
What
wind
about
lightning,
green? Then you can play
please?
green. Green grows every turn. That's easy, Laura. Okay.
Fine.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
So,
Back
how
to
did
Laura's
everyone think about all the various spirits? What were your builds?
It was really interesting to start off with Kaylin's build that I'd never done before. I feel like I picked up a card that I'd never used before. It was a little different and just super fun to work with Finder.
I wanted to do bottom track keeper because that has been getting more traction.
Love.
People have been talking about
been
bottom track keeper.
talking about how fun bottom track keeper is for a long time.
So anyway, I went top track. Yeah, I
Bottom
wanted.
track is so
Sometimes you
fun.
pick up a major power and times are tough. I'm like, well, I need energy, so I got to 7 energy in 3 plays with keeper. That was my end build. So I leaned into the top track, and I needed to play Talons of Lightning to destroy buildings.
I like a top track keeper sometimes.
It sometimes
fun.
does the job.
Yeah, especially if you don't have too many fires to put out everywhere.
Right.
If ever I want to say goodbye, France, I'm like, bottom track keeper. Here
Bottom
we go.
track, yes, and spreading all those wilds and putting out those little fires.
Au
That's so-
revoir.
Yeah.
Boot.
For Finder, like, there's top track Finder, which is fun. Like, I could have had a majors build Finder and, like, found Cast Down or something.
Sure.
But I just did top, middle, bottom.
But
and
you don't
it's-
need a major. Thunder
No,
Speaker's
I
here.
kind of had Thunder Speaker, and I
Sure.
just wanted to be mobile. I wanted to isolate, so...
Thunder Speaker Finder.
Yeah,
Oh.
so I just kind of had this hybrid build with Finder.
Sure.
Basically. So those were my 2 spirits. What'd you do, Ryan?
I did something I don't usually do. I almost, and I mean almost always, do hybrid. Sure, I may have a focus heavily on one over the other, but this time I did literally pure top track.
Entirely?
Entirely.
Wow.
Entirely top track. Well, the thing is, well, Stone's top track is everyone else's both tracks, because their bottom track is Reclaim 1 and Elements, and that's about it. Their top track is both energy and minor power gain and card play. So I'm like, yeah.
Oh, and their special rule negates a lost condition. This is fun.
Sure, this is fine.
That sounds balanced.
It's all good.
Well, here's the thing. I figured, looking at the board state, I'm like, There's a lot of bad guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to need my energy to use my innate so that I can pay to keep blight coming from the box, not from the card. So I'm going to need energy in order to do that.
Yeah.
So I want to have energy. So I kept going for that top track so I can have enough energy to actually fund all of these things. And boy, did I use it.
And you started playing majors, you started playing Winds of
Right.
Rust. So yeah, you needed money for that as well.
So we had, obviously 2 blight per player plus 1. So with 4 spirits, that means there's 9 blight, and we had 2 left, which means that we blighted 7 times. But as you remember, we had 11 blight on the board.
Yes.
Because 4 of those times came from the box.
Nice.
Well done, Stone.
Which means that if they didn't come from the box, that blight
we
card
would've
would have
bladed
flipped.
out.
Oh, we would have
Absolutely.
blighted.
So, on one hand, Laura, you may wish to complain in the fact that, hey, the scoring isn't helping me because there's more blight out there. Well, we would have flipped that blight card if it wasn't for Stone.
Do you lose points if it gets flipped over?
No, but you're just adding more blight. and
No,
then
but there's
events
more.
could
There's
add...
more blight on there. There's higher chances for bad things to happen. What if you get erosion at will? There goes presence.
I'm gonna put a pin in the complaining.
All I'm saying was your past self did your present self some good happies because Stone kept the blight card from flipping.
Right.
Which was great.
You played a really good Stone. So
I was
thank you.
You're the one who picked him, not me.
It's one of the biggest supports in the game is what Stone can do.
Yeah.
Like, Serpent letting someone play an extra card, or, even Green, so nothing can beat Gift of Proliferation, but just, stretching out that Blighted Island effect is
really
huge
nice.
from Stone.
Yeah. As far as powers, at first, I was going for a defense-centered Dahan kind of build. I was like, okay, because I had elusive ambushes. Like, okay, let me go ahead and move him around a bit. And then it was like, oh, crap, nope.
Yeah.
And so I was like, bye, get rid of that card, and hello, Winds of Rust and Atrophy, because I have to go for majors. And ironically, the thing that was so funny was I didn't even remember at that immediate moment that we had only 4 turns left. It was just like, you know what? I just need to go for major.
You sometimes forget in playing Brandenburg. It's like, yeah, we're in the middle of stage 2. It's fine.
Here we go. Oh,
No.
wait a minute.
Oh, wait.
Oh, crap. And
Uh-oh.
then, when John said that, hey, guys, we got 4 turns left, Laura and I were like, oh. Well, I'm glad I went for a major.
And found a good one.
And one of the things that was funny, as you remember, it was very good that I grabbed Winds of Rust and Atrophy because it clinched the game. It was very clutch that Keeper had found Towns of Lightning because he spammed it all the time. Multiple times throughout the game.
Right.
I like to do these things in these battle reports where I kind of like to think of a quote-unquote play of the game, so to speak. Honestly, for Stone, there wasn't really a play of the game until the very, very end.
I mean, you won us the game.
Well, right, but technically you would have done it if I had just simply done my turn first. But point being, I think the biggest play of the game was just simply Blight from the box.
Yeah.
Blight from the box until that awesome bit where I made Scarred and Stony land fast to pop the town, then make sure that I have enough elements for steam vents, which popped a town, which was clutch, and then doing Winds of Rust twice to make a city and do an
Huge.
Explorer. That was probably my biggest play. When it comes to Finder or Keeper, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but Finder just doing their good old-fashioned normal Finder thing.
Nothing really stood out. I moved 3 cities into 1 land for lore. That's cool type of thing.
Amazing, but you were doing that the
whole
whole time.
I was moving things around. With Finder sometimes, in isolation, I prevent an Explorer, cool. That's not really a play of the game, but that stops an Explorer, that stops a build, that stops a Ravage. So it's kind of deceptive with Finder where I didn't earn any fear, I didn't blow anything up, I killed nothing. But moving some things and isolating, it's deceptively good. And then, Keeper bankrolling Talons of Lightning and just reclaim looping, because I was still growing with Growthy and then reclaiming Talons of Lightning.
On my notes here, Keeper's play of the game was really spread across 3 things. Stopping multiple Explorers.
That's true. Yeah, good. I had a lot of Wilds tokens out there, yeah.
Replaying consistently Talons of Lightning, and gave all Dahan to Thunderspeaker.
Yeah, I always forget about that supportive power. I'm just like, oh, let's make a Sacred Site here. Here you go. Here's all the Dahan in this
It may
land.
be easy to forget, but guess what? Thunderspeaker's not going to forget that they got 6 more Dahan.
Yeah, here you go. That's true. My board was almost clear of Dahan because I was just shoving them to Laura.
Yep.
That's true. And
So that's what I had for
appreciated
Keeper,
them.
yeah. Thunderspeaker? Oh, easy. Back-to-back Manifestation of Power and Glory.
Yeah.
1 turn into the next.
This blowing up 30 damage, 24 damage, so much damage.
So great.
That was really fun.
And the bigger ones that we've had, usually we have like our rituals of destruction. We have these weird scenarios that kind of make us for these like 40, 60 damage.
Right.
Yeah.
But
It felt a little bit more utilitarian, but not so much as to be like, oh, I'm only getting 9 damage.
no,
You know?
you never had anything
And you got that
too
kind of
low.
like the fun build-up of, oh, we're going to keep dumping stuff in there. We're going to keep dumping stuff in there. And then finally it comes. You're like, yes.
A lot of people were talking, from what I saw on the comments on, our draft. Yes, I know, Laura, your team name was Shock and Awe, but Laura's team name was becoming S tier. They're like, oh, it's Laura's S tier team.
We said that even ourselves. In
We
the
even
like,
said
so
that,
Laura
right.
has the best team.
Yeah. So, like, having drafted a quote-unquote S-tier team, how did you think they blended? What was the composition?
It was just super fun.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I think, again, you're never going to get really better than Finder and Thunder Speaker together.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, that's the ultimate pairing in the whole entire game.
Whoa.
Well, it's definitely her favorite. It's
Yeah.
the one that she
Yeah.
has the most experience with.
But yeah,
When you
just
think
because, like,
about-
I love Thunder Speaker, and Finder lets Thunder Speaker do even more fun things. So,
When you think about the game, honestly, Laura was really the only one who killed and destroyed a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I did a little, like, here, there. Keeper did, decent amount.
Yeah, about like 2 or 3 turns worth.
Finder was just like,
Killed
just
nothing,
like,
yeah.
Just killed nothing, sent it all to other people. It was just between Thunder Speaker, Keeper, Finder, it was bump, set, spike.
Good
And
volleyball reference.
Finder and Keeper are doing the bump and the set, and Thunder Speaker's the one with the spike, and Stone was just making sure that we didn't flip the blight card.
Yeah.
mhm.
It's like, well, that worked out really well.
It's like, oddly, a really good team.
It worked.
It worked.
It's almost like strong spirits do well together.
Who'da thunk?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's, yeah. It's almost like it is like that, isn't it?
And then my team against Brandenburg, Prussia.
Because you said you didn't really strategize specifically versus this adversary.
Nope.
So, how do you think they did?
I think that we did really, really well. I think right now I don't really have a clear frame of reference for like how well we did. I think I'll be able to answer that question better after I see how your guys' teams do. Because maybe your teams like rush fear early and we end up winning on level 4 or something.
Yeah.
But I feel like we got out of the gate quickly. We didn't drop the tackle and we made it into the end zone. So I'm proud of my boys tonight.
Sports ball. Sports.
No, but like we didn't blight on turn 2. So
That's happened to me a bunch.
go team.
And we didn't get Numinous Crisis.
We
Yes,
didn't get
and
new
we won.
crisis.
So I feel like right now we did well. I'll be interested to see how your teams do.
Brandenburg Prussia, especially Brandenburg Prussia 6, is a generally tough adversary. They're not a specifically tough adversary.
Ooh, I like that.
And
Generally tough.
Is a generally good team.
That's true.
Huh.
I don't know how my
So,
team would have done
Finder-
against like France 6 or something.
Sure.
Finder is someone who just they do really good work at just grabbing people. Finder isn't countered very hard by Brandenburg Prussia.
No.
And what happens when you gather people? They're all in one spot. Who's really good at nuking one spot? Well, Thunder Speaker is.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of towns because of that escalation. Who's a good town popper? Thunder Speaker's not bad. Keeper's not bad.
Keeper's not
Hey,
bad.
hey.
Yeah.
Stone can be pretty good.
Yeah.
So
That's
Yeah.
true. Like, say Finder versus England is a little more delicate because if you get 7 buildings in land, you lose.
Oh yeah, so grouping them up doesn't work quite so well.
A little difficult, and you need to earn fear versus England, or they
Right.
get an extra build. So it's like,
True.
Finder again, not earning fear is
Right.
a little bit tough.
and Hepsbok, they're like, you put me over there, I'm going to move over here.
I'll
You're like,
move anyway.
Stay put, will ya?
Exactly. And some, like Sweden, double blights, which is hard for Keeper, who
And
doesn't...
Stone.
And Stone.
Stone hates Sweden.
That's true. So you're right, Ryan. This was a generally good team versus like a generally tough adversary.
I'll take
I mean,
it.
that's one of the reasons why we picked Brandenburg Prussia.
Mhm.
Because in a draft, there's like 3 or 4 people that are directly counter picks against this specific adversary we chose. Okay, and now that those spirits have been picked, the rest of this draft is kind of...
Right.
it's kind of boring.
Doesn't matter anymore.
Ooh, I have a question.
Okay.
Do you wish you had anyone different? Would you have swapped anyone out of the 4?
You killed my Ocean.
Mm.
I think really if it was different and somebody didn't like immediately get rid of Ocean in the first burn, I probably would swap out Ocean and Keeper just because Ocean can get more fear.
That would have been a different game because I stopped
Oh
a
my
lot
goodness,
of
yeah.
explorers with Keeper. But
You
the,
did.
but the fear was lower.
Yeah.
Fear was lower. It would have made Thunder Speaker and even Stone, I think, head more towards the interior/Ocean's board. And then Ocean
someone
would
had
be
a
more
cover for
controlling
Ocean.
the coasts.
Yeah.
But Ocean and Finder are also a good combo because a lot of times you find yourself on the coast.
Well, I had found Sky Stretches. If Ocean was there.
Oh.
Yeah, but
Extra
like,
range to the
okay,
coast.
so for Ocean, you want to drown stuff. And oftentimes you find yourself washed up on shore and you're like, I'm not in that land with that city.
Mhm.
I can't. I can afford to drown it. I have the card to drown it. I'm just not there and I can't easily move there this turn. But if you have Finder on your team, they can just move them right over there and then you can drown them.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
it would've
kind of
worked here
feeding
too,
you
though.
things without actually killing
Finder can even do wonky things because, you know, a Finder can, you know, push presence. I could end up in the ocean tile and then make coastal lands
I'm
that
sorry,
are inland
are
lands.
these two adjacent?
Are these two adjacent? That
Yep.
means this most inland jungle is now a coastal land
Wow.
where ocean can grow to,
and
where
you
they can
found
drown.
Scream Disease, which is yet another range boosting card, so it could have worked pretty well.
So I think someday I want to go back and try my team again with just that little swappy swap.
Okay, that would have been interesting for sure.
Yeah.
It all worked out in the end, and, you know, like we said, still all for funsies. But by turn 2 or 3, I'm like, oh, I wish he had a Fear Spirit.
We were
but
feeling
it
it.
all worked out. It all worked out.
It was still good.
So yeah, there you go. There is Laura's team. John, what do you think?
I think that was a strong showing. Again,
I think that was a really solid showing.
I've lost many a Brandenburg 6 games on the digital app
Yeah.
or just me playing by myself. Or, like we said, Blighted turn 2.
Honestly, the fact that you won already right there is
Yes.
one where I'm like, okay, I can't be lackadaisical or I can't rest on my laurels with my team.
One bad event I could
You know?
lose. Like, Laura, you have a victory, and it was a strong showing.
Yeah.
It was an impressive game.
This is a score that I don't think I can beat if I'm being, like lackadaisical, easygoing. I'm just cavalier about it. I have to be like, all right,
Let's go.
okay,
Here we
here we
go.
go.
We're
Here we
doing
go. So you're not making this easy for us.
So
That is my gut reaction.
the bar has been set high.
Yep.
Well done, team. You all played excellently. And at
Hooray.
the end of the day, I had fun. I
Me
hope
too.
You did too.
It was a fun game.
Yep. Okay, well, until next time, I believe John's team is up to bat.
I hope Starlight has a fear build. I'm kind of hoping for that.
Sun Moon! Sun Moon!
Sun Moon!
I'm actually really excited, yes, to see the score. I'm also excited to see when certain terror levels were reached and how many kills were made.
Okay. That'll be
I'm
interesting.
kind of fun to see that. I'm really excited to see how many explorers were killed, how many towns were killed, cities, that kind of thing.
What turn did River get massive flooding fully maxed out on? Was it turn 3? Maybe.
I'm guessing turn 5 or 6.
Yeah. But Green's in the game. Who knows? Green's in the game.
Oh, that's true.
Green.
That's true.
Hey,
Turn
hey,
4,
hey,
maybe?
turn 4.
We'll see, we'll
Hey,
see.
hey.
Alrighty, well, until next time, we will catch you all on the Flippity Flip.
Peace out.
Bye.
Hey there, Editing Ryan here. John's battle report was 2.5 hours long. I'm guessing I won't have it ready by next week. It's likely that I'll have it ready, however, on the following week, on September 3rd. Also, we were able to have a 4th player with us in that game. So the next episode will feature 4 individuals in the studio. I say this because we had to arrange the microphones in a different way, so the sound will be a little bit different than usual. I do think it sounds much better than the last time that we had 4 people in a recording. Last time we only had 1 microphone. This time though, we had 2. This will be the 2nd time that we've had 4 people, and if all goes according to plan, we'll have 4 players for my game as well. Anyway, that is what you can expect. I gotta get going. Until next time, I'm Editing Ryan. Catch you next time. We appreciate that you took the time to listen to this episode of the Kindred Spirit Podcast. Feel free to interact with us on our socials. You can catch us on our Facebook or Instagram, as well as Board Game Geek, Reddit, and Discord. Consider supporting us on Patreon, where you'll get access to episodes early as well as our private Discord. Links to all those will be in the description of this episode. Have a great one, and may the elements be ever in your favor.